So we can start by talking about the agenda for today. So in a nutshell, we're going to be covering how to engage and retain your community with email marketing. So first of all, we are going to introduce ourselves in the next slide. We also are going to talk about why email marketing is it's a must. Also, after that, we'll be sharing some tips and tricks for successful email marketing. After, we're going to show you how to discover Yapla and CakeMill to improve your NPO's communications. And finally, we're going to be answering any type of questions that you may have. So first things first, let's get to know each other. So today, I'm going to start by myself. Sorry, Alex, then I'll go with you. But my name is Camilo Rivadeneira. I am a marketing manager at Yapla. I've been with the company for a few months now, and I have good experience in marketing and email marketing maybe for the past 8 years. And I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, Alex.
Of
So
course.
please go ahead.
Thank you. So my name is Alex. I'm a customer service director here at Cake Mail, and I've been working for the company for a little over 12 years now. This wonderful email marketing world, and we'll have a chance to go over some basics today together. So looking forward to that.
Great. So now, speaking about Yapla, in a few words, Yapla is the all-in-one payment and management platform for NPOs. So our most important thing as a business is you. That being said, we always worry that you free yourself from administrative tasks. So we want to make sure that by having a solution, you have to work less on your day-to-day tasks that are occupying a lot of your time. Also, we have a solution that helps you receive your payments online. Um, Also very important to mention that we have a platform that helps you centralize and structure your data with a goal of making sure that you can be more committed with your community without having to worry about those tasks that I mentioned. So speaking about Yapla's toolbox, we have a solution to facilitate the management of your activities and add value to your services. So we have three core functionalities that we offer under the basic package, which are members, event, and donations. And then we have other solutions or functionalities that will help you have a more robust solution when you want to communicate with your donors, with your audiences in different ways. So we have website, and when it comes to website, that means that you can create subdomains, you can create your own website by using Yapla. There's also an accounting functionality. Newsletters is the big topic for today. So you can showcase your projects and news via this solution. We also have data and contact as a functionality. For further information, we can talk about that at the end of the presentation. So that's what Yapla is in a nutshell. And maybe now, Alex, you can help us introducing Cake Mill a little bit more in depth.
Of course. So on the Cake Mail side, the main advantages of using Cake Mail for MPOs is really Cake Mail's ease of use. So we offer a simple platform, obviously offering you all the essential tools you'll need to make you successful without having a huge learning curve. And so we also have a reliable support team that's going to be there available for you. We have powerful tools when you use the platform that we'll be going over very shortly. We'll see the drag and drop editor, we'll see the reporting, automated emails, all that fun stuff. And finally, the reliability of our infrastructure when it comes to time to send out your newsletters to your clients. So it's nice to build emails, send them out, but we want to make sure that we reach the inbox and get as much engagement as possible. So those are those top advantages of using CakeMail.
Cool. So now we want to talk about why is email marketing a must. So what is email marketing, and what do we want to talk about that today? Email marketing is also known as emailing, and something important that it's key to highlight here is that via emailing we send targeted, personalized, commercial, promotional, or informative messages to a list of contacts. We're going to talk about that more in depth in the subsequent slides, but that's key. And it's very important to mention that it's cost-effective communication channel. So it doesn't require a lot of investment. Well, it depends on the situation, but the return is high, and that is what Alex is gonna explain
Exactly.
right away.
Exactly. So, the email marketing is probably one of the highest ROIs out there, because for every dollar you invest, email marketing will return about a $40 for each dollar. So if we compare through percentages with other types of channels. I mean, we have pay-per-click, SEO, and social media. On the graph below, you can see there is a huge difference. Email marketing allows you to contact the person directly, whereas sometimes social media or others won't give you exactly what you need or as detailed as you need in your communications.
There's also something important here to mention as like two pillars or two assets for email marketing. So there's one on the loyalty standpoint and the other one from the engagement point of view. Can you please maybe give us your thoughts about that, Alex?
Of course, so the two main things with email marketing that's important, or the goals or where you want to get with this is generate engagement and loyalty. So the tool is going to help you do that a lot. And when we speak about loyalty, we're talking about maintaining like a regular communication with your members, with where it be even your donors or volunteers, and also on the engagement side, when you want to announce new upcoming events, when you want to create some emails for fundraisers or whatever it may be. Obviously, this the tool, and that's exactly what you want to do. So yeah.
Okay. Now speaking about the tips and tricks for successful email marketing, there's three key things to keep in mind. So one of them is the who. And when we speak about the who, is that it's important to know your audience and keep an updated list. So that means that you gotta have either an Excel sheet or a CSV sheet that has the list of contacts that you want to manage. And then it's important to know who they are and how to manipulate that list. Number two, it's important to define the objective or of your message. So that's the what. One email, one message. So it's always key to make sure that you go straight to the point and you don't talk about so many things so the audience get distracted and they don't go they don't get the message that you're trying to send. And finally, it's very important to customize your email. So it's important that the audience feels that that they're treated personally and that the message is not going like massive, and they feel that they are not treated with a like a preferential treatment. So yeah, now when it comes to personalization of your communications, it's always important to use the information in your list to personalize that content, which is related to what we just said. Important to keep in mind three things. Number one, subject line. So as you can see here, it's always important that the objective of the message is clearly specified. This is the subject line. It always has to be very specific, very clear, and this is what indicates the open rate or the opens of the good open rate of the email. That's something technical, but it's something very important to keep in mind. Then the pre-header. The pre-header is something that whenever you look at your inbox, you have as a reader, you have a little message that is showing the description of the communication. So that's also important to have and to have it clearly stated. Then, as you can see here in this screenshot, there's variable fields, and that is what I mean when I say dynamic text fields. So whenever you have your list from the beginning with some fields that are subject to be adjusted in the communication, for example, here you can see that it says Selma. That means that we can populate that information coming from your list, and you can see it right here. So that's why it is important to have that list up to date. And therefore, if you have that, you can see your email with this logic, and it'll work well. Um, Maybe regarding the tips for writing emails, it's important to make sure that we always use short and direct sentences. So always straight to the point. It's always important to make sure that the message is short and sweet. It's also important to say that to make sure that there's a call to action. So there's either a button, a link, or something that makes the audience go to take a desired action that is part of the whole, like the outcome of the whole message that the communication has. Also, this is a trending topic nowadays, and it has to do with AI. So always make sure now that you can help yourself using AI. And Alex is gonna show you very cool stuff in a few minutes when he walk us through the solution, and
Yeah.
you can see what we can do with AI. Do you want to add something, Alex, regarding that point?
Yeah, as you mentioned it well. As we go in the demo, we'll see how you can leverage AI as much as in either subject lines or preview text or either the content in your email newsletter. So we'll look at that.
Cool. And it's also important to always have in your communications the unsubscribe link at the bottom of your email. So that goes in line with the regulations, and we're gonna talk about that right now. In Canada, we have something called the Canada Anti-Spam Legislation, the CASL. And in a nutshell, it's important that whenever you have a communication, you have this included so that you get your audience consent, so they accept that they want to receive the communications that you want to send. It's important to have identification, and Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to identification, we talk about having a physical address at the bottom of the email.
That's correct.
So the audience know who we are, and they
And
know
can
that we exist in a
also
physical
it
place.
yes, and the original reason for this in the past when these laws came out, quite strange, and it's probably never gonna happen. But it's also to give people the possibility to unsubscribe by mail is the
Okay.
reason why there's
Okay.
the identification that's important, and the unsubscribe link as well. In the case that you would forget to add this information in your newsletter, CakeMail automatically adds it, so you don't have to worry about that.
Cool. So that being said, that goes by default, and according to what you're saying, there's two ways or several, but here we talk about a physical way to unsubscribe and a digital one, which is through the unsubscribe link. For further information, if you guys want to take a look at like a blog that we have for that, you can click on this link after the presentation. We're gonna share it with you guys, by the way, and then you can have more information related to this topic. Now, speaking about the types of email to test, here we have a list of 5. I mentioned 10 on the title, but because on the link below, you can go and check a few additional other options, but I'm going to mention a few of them. I'm going to start with a welcome email. It's always important to have a welcome email because that's the first connection with a member, with a volunteer. Normally is the first one when you start having a relationship with your audience. There's another type of communication that are the email announcements. So normally those communications are more massive, and that's a way to let your audience know about something that, as it names explains, is like a, I don't know, like a, it could be a newsletter or something that is, well, not a newsletter, like a big announcement. Let's say you're changing something, you want your whole audience to know about a specific topic, then you can use those type of communications. Number three, it is more related to newsletters. So it's more for your current members or donors. You can also send it to potential donors if they subscribe. And that's where you have information of interest for your audiences. So you share topics that are related to your association and your audience. And that's in a nutshell what covers the newsletters. We also have the lead nurturing emails. That's more for prospects. Whenever you are expecting to have new members, new donors, you can use this type of vehicle. And that's how you maybe use a series of communications, or you can have starting from one, but you can have multiple, and you can nurture. You can start feeding those potential leads with communications until they become a member, or like an active contact of your business or your association. And then loyalty emails. Normally, the loyalty emails are built up to bond, to build up bond with your community. So to make sure that you are strengthening relationships, that you keep engaged with your community. So that's the summary of that. Also, for further information, you can click on this link and you can take a look at more type of emails that you can test according to your needs. Now we're gonna get into the coolest part of the presentation. So it has to do with Discover Yapla and Cake Mill to improve communications of your NPO. As a result of this partnership that we have with Cake Mill, Yapla has created a synergy, or we have created a synergy, and now that's why we have Yapla newsletters. So that's cool, and I'm gonna show you how it looks like. So just give me a sec. I'm gonna go to this slide or this view. When you log into Yapla, you get to this view. This is the portal, and whenever you register, you can register. We'll show you after, or you can contact us, and you will know how to do it. But in essence, once you get into the platform, you will have this view, and this view, this is a simulation of a cake mill company. And on the left hand side, you can see the menu where we have the dashboard, and it has the view of quick actions that you can take, such as create an event, create a donation campaign, manage the members. And those are the basic uh, functionalities that we have. Then we have the option of creating a website, as we explained before. We also receive payments, which is very cool online. We have an accounting functionality. But speaking about what we like about the main topic of the session today, we want you guys know that the contacts that you get through forms, through I don't know if you have memberships and you have new members joining your associations, or you have events where some people have joined those events or participated. Under the contact part, you're gonna have all your contact list. So it'll look like this. Uh, So here you have the list of contacts that belong to your organization. This is a simulation of how it can look like. And then we have the newsletters beta, which is this joint effort that we now have with CakeMill. So just for you guys to know, the newsletter functionality is the old functionality that we have prior to this launch. But right now we are launching this new solution, and that's why we have this option called beta. So if you guys start using Yapla, you can try it out. And without any other explanation, I can go ahead and maybe let you share your screen, Alex, and show us how uh, that newsletter functionality works.
Of course. So thank you for that, Camilo. So once you click on the button as Camilo was showing you in your account, you'll be brought to your CakeMail dashboard, where you'll be able to navigate through your account. So we'll start with the contacts. So by default, my list, I have my three contacts because as we saw in my Yapla account, I had three contacts. So there's a bridge there that connects, and your contacts in Yapla get synchronized automatically into your newsletters Yapla CakeMail account. So we see them here. But for example, if I was doing a fundraiser at a park for my company, which is a Janine Desserts, which is a company that makes cakes and cupcakes. Um, I I got a contact list while I was at the event, so I was getting the consent of people to receive their information to communicate with them. I also had maybe a little questionnaire there while they filled it out, saying what's the type of flavor of cakes they preferred. So I collect this information, I add it to my Excel spreadsheet, and from there, I'm able to come to my account and add that information. So we can go to the import section and we click on the little plus there that was on the contact page, and then we can click on import contacts. From there, I have the possibility to either import in an existing list or create a new one with it. If I'd be importing in an existing list, I also can import to a segment. So for example, if this was the people, as I mentioned, that I collected during a fundraiser event, I would be able to create a tag here and call it fundraiser, right? Uh, and then once that's created, I can go select it here. So everybody I'm going to import will get the tag fundraiser, and it's going to be easier for me to segment them if ever I have a specific type of communication to send to these people. So we'll proceed to the import of my spreadsheet. So once that's done, I can see the system will generate a preview of all the fields that were in my list. In my case, I had the name, I had the email, I had all the different types of flavors available that were on my form, and all the people that clicked on it, uh, that check marked it, I updated my spreadsheet in consequence. So once I'm satisfied with all the fields I want to import, I go to the next step, which is giving the consent. Obviously, we were talking about the Canadian anti-spam law, so getting consent is important. And once that's done, I'll just click import and I get to the summary of my import where I could see that I had 41 contacts and 41 were added to my contact list. If ever there would have been a typo in my email address, a problem with the line or whatever, we would have had a little red mention here stating the line number of my spreadsheet where there was the issue so I could go back and validate what happened there. So I can see now in my list, uh, my contact list has been updated, and we can see also that when I import my list with the tag, we had added the fundraiser, which is here, which is great. So that's perfect. So I'm able to segment with these people with the tag, but I'm also able to create segment with other conditions. So if we go here on the left-hand side, I can go click on create a condition. And for example, if I wanted to create one for all the people that like the chocolate, I would go in my list, select the drop down here, and go get my custom attribute that I imported to go segment it. So as I was mentioning, I'm able to do this because I had this information within my list. So the more information we have imported, the more we'll be able to segment. So the value was called oui, which is yes in French, in my list. So I'm able here, once I add the value that was there, we can see that the 41 now became 9 people. So I can go
Um,
save and exit. Yes.
Alex,
Hello?
just a quick question. Just for everybody to know, can you very quickly explain what the column that says bounce count means on
Yeah,
the
of course.
list?
So here these are so inside of CakeMail you have what we call system fields, which are fields that are generated by CakeMail. So you have the status, which tells you if a contact is unsubscribed or has bounced, or is a soft bounce or a hard bounce, or
Perfect.
marked you as spam. And the bounce count would be the amount of times the email bounced.
Okay,
We could go further into detail on another webinar on this, but essentially it's just going to give you more insights on what's happening with the contacts.
cool, cool. Thanks.
No worries. And if anyone has questions, feel free to uh, chime in the chat and we'll answer those questions later. So I'll go in and now save my segment and we'll see why later because when I create my campaign, I'll be able to send. We were talking about sending to targeted lists, sending content that is also uh, more relevant to the people that are receiving the email. So by creating these types of groups, we're able to create content that will match what they're interested in. So now we get to the campaign creation part where we have a section where you can have, obviously you can see your previous campaigns, what was sent, your drafts, what's scheduled to go out, your templates, and also we have the smart templates, which is a function that's also going to be linked with your Yapla account very soon. So it allows you to set your brand, so your logo, the colors of your brand, and from there it will automatically update the cake mail templates with with those colors of your brand. So you're able to get a better preview of what it looks like, and you can scroll through the list. We have quite a few. So for today, I'll just select one and create a campaign with that, and it's going to bring us automatically to our email editor. So once I'm in my editor, we'll go over the basics of this editor. We'll do maybe at another time more of a deep dive on this, but today we'll just go a little overview. So what's important is our editor is split in three really big uh, sections. So the first one is the general settings of your template. So this is where you're able to control the content area. So the width of your whole email, by default, we leave it at 600 pixels. We highly recommend you still leave it at 600 pixels because this is the way where we can guarantee that your emails go out perfectly in all types of email service providers, different types of devices, and all that stuff. And you have other options here, like changing globally the alignment of your newsletter, or maybe the background. The content area background is the middle part here, and so on and so forth. And finally, the last one we want to speak about, because we spoke about it a little earlier with Camilo, is having the pre-header. So this is where you set the pre-header of of your email, which, as Camilo mentioned, is that little part of text that will show up either under or next to your subject line um, when you receive a newsletter in your inbox. And obviously, this is important because if it's not done, then either Gmail or Outlook will go and grab the first words of your newsletter and just plug them there. Sometimes it could also be text that was on an alternate image, so it could be inaccurate and create more confusion than anything else. So always important, set your pre-header as well. If ever you're lacking in inspiration, we have a little tool here which is connected to ChatGPT that allows you also to get some ideas there. As we mentioned before, AI is also a part that can help you fill in those gaps when you need a little bit of content creation for your newsletter.
So for
Um,
example, can I change my, with the AI that you're mentioning, I can tweak the message and make it shorter and make it longer, change the tone and do
yeah,
things like that, right?
yeah, well, exactly. We'll be making recommendations based on the cues that you give it. Same thing for the content creation that I'll show you just in a little while. And later on, we'll also see that with the subject lines as well.
Cool. Mhm.
Awesome. So the second part or the second piece of the editor is the rows. The rows is what I like to call a bit the skeleton of your email. So obviously, we do offer nice templates. Sometimes it just doesn't fit with the content you're trying to put. So you have the possibility to modify them with the rows. So depending on the percentage of each block you wanna add. You can have maybe two content blocks, three, one. So we have here all the different combinations that are available to you that you can just go ahead and drag in the newsletter, and you'll see as soon as the line becomes blue, it means you're able to drop it there. It's an area where you're able to do it, and that's where it will update. So we have our blocks, and then finally we have our content. So once we put in our row, we gotta fill them. So I can add, for example, a paragraph block, which is essentially a text block, and then maybe add an image and a second paragraph, for example. So here I have my newsletter. Now, the third part, as we started already, this is the content where you can just drag in and add. And also in the editing part, you have the notion of uh, paragraphs or you have rows. So when you hover over your content, you can see every time I move my cursor, the section that's highlighted in blue is the section that will be um, used for the changes that I make. So if I click, for example, here on the paragraph, I can see now on the subset of properties that showed up on the right, I have things that are more fit for a paragraph block. So I'm able to change stuff like my font, my text color, the size of my font, the alignments and all that stuff. Same things for padding. So I want to adjust a bit, make the block higher, make the block shorter, make like put more space on the left or right. That's possible to do. And then when you select a row, which is the whole section, then you have a new uh, series of properties that show up, which are more specific to the row. So changing the colors, the background colors, if you want to put background images, borders and all that fun stuff. What's nice with the rows is you'll have more advanced options if you want to tweak your mobile versions. So if you want sections, for example, this is maybe a bad example, but in the case that we have three content blocks side by side, we have the possibility to stack them or not, depending on how the visual is and how you want your design to come out. But you have the possibilities to either remove the stacking when you open on your cell. So that means by default, when you'll receive on your on your phone, if it's on, the first section from left to right will be on top. So paragraph's gonna be on top of my image, and my second paragraph will be under my image. If sometimes it would break my design, I have the option to reverse it. So the right one would be the first, and then image, and then I would have my first block at the bottom. So then we have, once again, a whole set of padding and options you could use. As I mentioned, different type of blocks mean different type of properties. So we saw the paragraph, but we could also see here the images where you have your own personal file manager where you can import all your images and replace them in your newsletter. If ever you're missing content, we have the possibility to use about 500,000 stock photos that are obviously license free. So you can use search and fill your newsletter with whatever needs to be done there. All right. Before Camilo, you were talking about AI. So when I click on a paragraph block, we can see here in my properties, I have my write with AI option. So by clicking on this, I could simply, I get a box where I'm able to prompt and ask whatever I need, get the tone that I want, and generate some content that I can insert in my newsletter and then maybe modify it to my own taste after, since it doesn't always come out perfect. All right. And then again, we have different types of content blocks like the button, for example, where again, AI comes. So for pretty much almost every section, we always add a button that can give you that little extra help if ever you're lacking in let's say inspiration. So there you have it. You have the action where you can add your own personalized URL to redirect it to our page, or you can use also a link file. So for example, if I were to click on this, but I would like my customers to download, for example, a PDF file, it would be via this button link file that I can upload in the CakeMail file manager, my files, right? The editor also allows you to have views or edit in mobile or desktop. By default, whatever you do in desktop gets replicated in mobile. It's also it's only used more as a view, but sometimes it can help you get a better understanding of how your email will look like. And speaking of better understanding of how an email will look like, you have a little preview here at the top by clicking on the eye, which really gives you a full understanding of what that email will look like, but also give you the option to pre-visualize your email in dark mode. So dark mode is going to be an important one. You can also see before we talked about some articles that point towards our blog. We also have a blog article written on dark mode, which essentially inverts the color from uh, white to black if it's white, but for other colors, depending on if it's Gmail or Outlook, they all have their own little mentality on that. So we have charts that show you what's the color that turn on. And personally, I've received emails where certain content areas were completely um, not there because of the dark mode that changed. So it's important to select a color that when it gets inverted, it also remains visible. So that combination of background color and font color is very, very important at that level. And then finally, I'll just show you one more little type of content block, or maybe two, for some of our fans out here that they like GIFs. We do have a GIF library where so you can import that block and again research through the whole library and add that. So add a little humor to your newsletter. And if not in your footer, you can also add a social media bar, which was there's one by default, but I can add one and modify the style of my buttons and remove or add the social media accounts that I have or I don't have, so on and so forth. So now I'm done with my newsletter. I'm satisfied with the look. I can save, and then I have the option to up here to send myself a test email, save my design as a template, or just uh, change if I'm finally not happy with the template, I could change starting point and just scrap my template and restart from scratch. In my case, I'm satisfied, so I'll continue. And once we get to the last step, this is where we can set the details. So the first line up here is going to be an internal name for you to, when you go back to consult the stats of your campaign, you can just write here the stats. You have the subject line, which is very important. We spoke about the AI generated subject line. So you can go and click on this button. We will make recommendations if you're missing the inspiration. If not, you can type one up yourself on your side. After that, we select our contact list. In our case, we had one contact list, so that's good. And then I can choose to send to a segment only, or I can choose to send to the whole list. So if I don't add anyone, I'll be sending to everyone. But in the case that we were talking about sending targeted emails, in this, let's say this newsletter was about my chocolate cupcakes, I would be able to go get a segment and go select everyone who had the interest in chocolate cupcakes. So by doing this, I'm also increasing the engagement. Most likely that when I send out the email, it's um how can I say it, the newsletter is intended for me, so it's all stuff that I'm interested in. So I'll be obviously interacting a bit more and maybe have more information on that. And then finally, we'll have our from. So by default, the from is Yapla, but if you're sending out your newsletter to your clients, it could be either the name of your foundation or your personal name if you want to send out by your personal name. Same thing for the sender email. By default, Yapla creates a sender email for you at Yapla, so it's your it's your sender, but you can change your reply to, and obviously it would be really important to change this reply to in case someone replies to your newsletter and you get it sent back to yourself. If you own your own domain or website, you're able to add your own sender email, and I'll show you that in just a moment. And then finally, the last final step of this is adding UTM. So if this concerns you, if you have Google Analytics or that stuff, you're able to plug in your UTMs here and have an extra following on what happens after your newsletter gets sent out and the people reach your website, how they interact on your website. And if not, we can go and send the campaign as soon as possible, or I could schedule it for next week or tomorrow or whenever it fits the schedule. So
So,
once
question regarding that, the UTM parameters are only able to be changed before the campaign is launched, not after, right?
exactly, exactly. Those are changed before.
Okay.
All right, so we're good with that. I send out my newsletter. Perfect. We were also speaking about senders, so I'll show you quickly. If you click on the top right on your name, you have a section that's senders. So if you don't want to send from yapla.com and own your own domain, you can click on the button here and add your own personalized sender. From once you're added, you can click on authenticate domain to follow the steps to well authenticate your domain. Um, and last but not least, to complete the whole engagement personalization part, I'll quickly show you uh, a feature that we have that's called automations. Automations allow you to communicate quickly with your and efficiently with your customer base, and you can plan a strategy ahead of time. So, for example, when a person subscribes to a list, or in the case that I imported someone and a list before and we tagged them fundraiser, that could have been the initial point to trigger my automation to start. And then once that happens, I can go ahead and create a whole flow. So once that person is inserted in my flow, we set a delay. For example, here in the example I've done, we set a delay of 15 minutes. Following that delay, we send invitation number 1 for an event, and then we could have waited 1 week. And if he didn't, pardon me, if he opened an email, send him version 1, or if he didn't open the email one, we'd send him version 2, and so on and so forth. So we can continue with delays and conditions, which we'll probably have a webinar in the future that's more strategy focused on this. It's just to show you the possibilities that could be done with this type of feature. So this obviously in the long run, it's a goal for you. It can help you or remove a good part of your workload, and also make your communications much more efficient. So without further ado, I'll just pass the presentation back to Camilo. Oh, I'm sorry, Camilo. I
So
think you're good.
thanks a lot, Alex. And I will now leave Camilo to do the final, to end the final comment for the webinar. We don't have any questions, so I would suggest that we just give the final information. thanks a lot for everyone who has been here, and thanks a lot to Alex and Camilo for your presentation.
Thank you, Isabel. So yeah, for whomever is ready to get started, we're here for you. So the first thing that you guys have to do is to create a Yapla account. You can click on this link whenever you guys have the presentation and follow the steps, very easy. Then if you have any questions, you can contact our team to talk about your project. We can support you with that at your convenience. Then it's very easy. You complete your information. Then if you want to move ahead, you can set up your first email. And if you have questions, you can visit the resources that are available to you, or you can speak with us. If you have any questions, Isabel already told us that for now, we don't have any, but you can contact us. If it's on the Yapla side, you can contact us at hello@yapla.com. And Alex, if it's Cake Mill.
Yeah, it's at support@cakemail.com.
So thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoy this presentation now or in the future whenever you see it. So see you in the next one. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.